I like companies to be nice and open, nice and clear about what they're up to, with whom and why. So, this video is all about something I don't like, related party transactions and deals. It's another of my red flag videos, and before we jump into the issue, let me just remind you about what we're trying to do here. Be vigilant. Management want you to believe their story. That's rising sales and profits. They're going to go to any lengths potentially to achieve that. I'm going to show you one in just a moment. Healthy skepticism is the key to successful investing. Okay, not pessimism, just healthy skepticism. Red flags provoke further questions. I'll give you some things to look at the end of this video. If in doubt, ask those questions or keep away. A business you don't understand is a business you possibly shouldn't be investing in. Right, related party transactions. What on earth are those? And what do you look for? Okay, and why don't I like them? Well, here's the scenario. Public company on the left, private company on the right. You can tell, by the way, because the one on the left would tend to have the tag PLC after its name. The one on the right would be something limited. All right? Public company owned by public shareholders like you and me. Private companies, on the other hand, can be owned by anybody. They're often closed to outside investors. That's the whole point, hence the name. Now, so far, so what? Imagine you have the same chief executive running both, running a group of public companies and running one or more private companies. All right? And that chief executive has a couple of ways of influencing the private company or companies out on the right-hand side. One, as chief executive. Now, that's pretty obvious. It'd be pretty obvious that the guy's got a lot of control over that group of companies, but there are more subtle ways. For example, the chief executive could be an actual shareholder in that private company out on the right, or a kind of shadow shareholder with a kind of doomsday vote that triggers lots of voting rights. Okay, so there are quite a few mechanisms, maybe a relationship with existing shareholders, for example, so they always vote with him. Not to go through all of them, but there are quite a few subtle and less subtle ways of getting control over a group of companies that may not be absolutely obvious to the outside world. So far, so what? Here's the point. As the chief executive of a public company, you need that company to be doing well. Good sales, good profits, nice share price growth. And one year, let's imagine you're getting a bit desperate. It's getting towards the end of your accounting year end. You're thinking, oh, could really do with a bit of a kicker in here, a bit of a boost to sales. One way you could engineer it, all right, is for the public company to make a whole load of sales to the private companies on the right, all right? And the private companies on the right have no choice but to buy the kit that's being sold by the public company. Why? Because the same guy is running both, and you can simply instruct them to buy it at the time. So you've got sales between a public company and a private company controlled, in effect, at an executive level by the same person. All right? Now, is that illegal? No, it isn't. It completely is not illegal. All right? But as a shareholder in the public company, you would probably at the very least want to know about those sales, would you not? Because they're not really at arm's length. I mean, they might be on arm's length terms, but you can clearly see that the private group of companies is to some extent operating under the influence of this guy here. And that's what related party deals are all about. This is just one example, and a really quite simple example. If you're wondering who would do such a thing, well, there was a chap who used to run a newspaper group, okay, who did exactly this kind of thing to boost sales towards the end of the year. But that's by the by. A chief executive might be tempted, in order to boost sales and profits over here, to enter into what are called related party deals. And related party deals can involve the person themselves, companies they control, members of their family. You get the idea. Now, it's quite hard to police this, and it's quite hard sometimes to understand to what extent it's going on. So, as an investor, I have a very simple rule of thumb. When I open up a set of accounts, there is a note buried towards the end, a lot of the juicy stuff is at the end, called the related party transactions note. The shorter that is, the better. I don't even want to have to rummage through that note. If it's a page long, forget it. Personally, not interested in that company, not interested in whatever explanation they're going to offer as to why all these related party transactions have to go on. Because if you think about it, if a company is relying on transactions with related parties to make its profits bigger, you've got to ask the question, why? Why can't they just do it the normal way with people who are not related to them? All right? So for me, a long related parties note is a bit of a red flag in itself. I might not even read the thing, frankly, but maybe that's just my view. So, Warning signs. A lengthy, well, you've got to find it first, by the way, and it's buried right at the back, but I've told you where it is now. Go right to the back, okay? Lengthy and or complex related party note, particularly if I don't understand it. A low free float. Well, what's that all about? This is where companies have managed to go public, okay? So they've brought in external shareholders, but not much of their share capital, their total share capital, is available to the public. They've gone for the kind of the minimum they can get away with to get a listing. I'm not saying it's absolute evidence of a problem, but it does increase the significance potentially of these related party transactions. Okay, so just bear that in mind. Low free float, just to reiterate, is where the minimum proportion of the number of voting shares the company could have made available to the public has been made available to the public. A dominant founder or owner. Now, clearly, these are the entrepreneurs. These are the people who make money and make money for shareholders. But where you've got sort of these three things in combination, let's say, I would start to get a little nervous. All right. So there it is. Related party transactions. They happen. They're not illegal, but personally, they make me a wee bit anxious.